Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. It will probably contain strong language and adult themes. So, looks like I'm going solo here today. Oh, hey Hans, how you doing? So what's up with you people today? Not too much going on here, just Sammy-san's being cuddly. He's scratching his neck a lot. I'm wondering if the flea treatment is irritating his skin. He doesn't go out, but I'm always concerned that somebody's dog is going to bring fleas into the building and leave them in the hallway carpet or something. Sorry to hear you're dealing with that, Hans. Yeah, really nothing going on today. I couldn't even find any holidays worth making fun of for today. August is pretty lame as far as the holidays go. I'm afraid that's going to happen a lot. I'm going to have to start making crap up. Oh! Sorry, Sammy has decided to start pressing buttons on the keyboard. So if we wind up having some random things happening, that's what's going on. He is being very cuddly today, very clingy. So I got a couple items left over on my list of assumptions about me that people sent. Let's finish that off. Steiny said, stolen. I also assume you're one of those awesome old men who people wish was their grandpa. I don't know. I think if they spend enough time around me, I'm definitely would fit in the category of these strange relatives that, yeah, you just don't know what to do with them. Aptivist said, okay, I'll take a stab at it. I assume you dear hashtag not all Saurians read at least 3 books a month. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm somewhat dyslexic, so reading's rather a chore for me. I've got a huge stack of books that I've been meaning to read, but it's such a long process that I just don't read a lot. I often have to read the same paragraph like 3 or 4 times just to get all the words in the right order so it makes sense. Oh, okay, I got Amiga Nuts and the Lone Wanderer. Hi, how are you doing? Yeah, I had seen the National Psychics Day, but it looked like I had missed that one already. And I couldn't do anything for National Underwear Day because I generally don't wear any, so no perspective on that one. Oh, hi, Greg. Glad you could stop in. So I'm solo here, so any questions anybody from the side chat has? The last item on the list of assumptions about me that people sent was Jenny Morgan. I've always assumed you were a serial killer who stages the murder scene as Bible parables come to life. Well, no, I don't do them as Bible scenes. I do, however, recreate them all in Lego to display at conventions. Oh, Wanderer, have you got... Excuse me. Wanderer, are you going to have some videos coming out soon then? If you're going to have something coming out, you can drop a link in the chat there. Let people know. Yeah, I gave up on the underwear years ago. I just never saw too much point for it. Oh, I have Purry Kitty. Yeah, actually not too much of a serial killer because milk doesn't agree with my system too well, so. Yeah, you know, I've never seen a rodent wear underwear, so I guess that fits nerdy. So, had a new toy that Sloth Girl's got her son visiting again, so the last night the three of us put a Lego set together. She loves llamas and alpacas, so I had picked up the Lego Friends Alpaca Mountain Rescue set. She flipped out over the little Lego alpacas. I knew she would. So I'll probably let her keep the alpacas when I take the thing apart. But it's a good set for parts because the Friends series winds up having some interesting pieces of colors you don't get too often in the other sets. In particular, more purple pieces, although this one had more of the aqua blue and coral. I also took some pictures I need to put up of my birthday haul, all the stuff I got for my birthday, and that included a couple of the Jurassic Park Lego sets. So I got a couple more Lego dinosaurs. So what's everybody else doing there? I finally got all the parts for my car, so tomorrow I've got to try and go out to somewhere that people aren't going to bother me, so I can jack it up and put a whole new exhaust system on my car. It's blown out the muffler. My biggest problem has been not really having a good place to work on it, so I've got a spot now that I'm hoping I can go out there and nobody's going to bother me. Long enough to get the old stuff off is going to be the hardest part. Not sure if any of the bolts are actually going to move or if I'm going to have to try and get a reciprocal saw or an angle grinder in there to try and cut the bolts off. Okay, Hans, my biggest thing I have wondered about is if you might be partly of Sami origin, since yeah. My mother's side of the family is from Lapland. They're all Finnish. So, unfortunately, I can only go back about 5 generations on that side because they came to this country because the Russians tried to move the border. So everybody decided that they couldn't stop them from taking the land, but they'd be damned if the Russians were going to get anything else. So everyone evacuated the town and they burned everything to the ground. So no records going back further than that. So the area they lived in was either Sweden, Finland, or Russia, depending on which decade you're talking about. And yeah, Finland's only been an independent country for slightly over 100 years. And before that, that territory did change hands on average of every 20 years. Grocery shopping online. Yeah, I'm still going out to the store for groceries. Grocery shopping online doesn't work really well for me, mostly because I'm not that organized. I usually don't know what I'm going to get, so I need to kind of wander the stores and basically see what's a good deal this week and plan my menu based on what I can get reasonably cheap that seems appealing. I'm not sure. Maybe muffler has a different meaning in Britain than it does here. I'm wondering if that's funnier to people in the UK than it is to me. Hey, Dave. Rocks wear underpants. Again, haven't seen that, but maybe it's a UK thing. Maybe only rocks in Britain wear underpants. I don't know. Hey, Angie. Yeah, it's going to be a short stream if somebody else doesn't come in here. I'm just not real good at doing the solo thing. Wander the web. Okay. Yeah, wandering the website doesn't work as well for me. I've never really gotten to care for online shopping. I kind of need to see the physical products. I don't know. I think part of it's, like I said, I have to process things differently with the dyslexia and the autism. My brain definitely does not work the same as most people. So I don't work well in 2 dimensions. I don't work well off of plans. I need things to be 3-dimensional so I can turn them around and look at things from all different angles. It is a problem for me building things, actually. Yep. Well, my pal Sammy-san here is definitely all about laps, so yeah, he's laying here, getting a good bit of brushing. Like I said at the beginning, he's been scratching his neck a lot, so I'm wondering if the flea treatment is maybe irritating his skin. Maybe I can't use that brand. I'll have to try something else. Hey, Angie, how are you and the puppies doing? Your pet rock ran away? Yeah, that's a common problem with pet rocks if they feel they're being taken for granted. probably the oldest pet rock joke there is, but if you're having problems with your rocks, you got to go to Steve Baum and he can tell you. He'll tell you how to handle rocks. Yeah, Angie, I thought I had dropped the link in your group already, but I'll get it again. Hold on. If I can get the right tab here. Where's Twitter? There's Twitter. Hello? Okay, Twitter's being strange. I'm having trouble seeing the groups. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, Twitter is only showing me like my first 6 groups, and I'm having trouble seeing anything else. Okay, there you go, Angie. I dropped a link for you. Could have sworn I'd put one in your group before, but I guess I missed that one. All right. So I'm just rambling endlessly because I don't really have anything to say here. About the only thing that would be worse if I was rambling endlessly and didn't realize my mic was muted, huh? Yeah, Greg should get in here sometime. He's the one paying for this. Yeah, I got a couple of private Twitter groups that I dropped the link in. I guess I had missed Angie's this time. Hello.
Hello. Oh my God, my head looks really big. Okay. My shirt's actually yellow, but the thing is seeing it as green. So didn't expect to be a giant floating head today, but you're welcome.
I like the background. That's cool.
Thank you. I steal stuff off the internet. This is weird. I like this.
It looks like something
Hi,
I'd
everybody.
expect Compelled Unbeliever to use.
This is accidental. I accidentally did something cool.
Yep. It's very cool.
That's how it usually goes. Whoops, that's awesome. It'll never happen again. I can fix it technically. Hang on.
Oh, don't. There's no reason to fix it.
Let's see if I do that. Oh dear.
No.
No, that
Go
didn't
back. Go back.
Nope. Okay, what happens if I pick? Oh, that's better. Disco. Yeah, I like the space one. It's my favorite. So I'll just float about here in this rainbow space.
Well, nerdy, I suppose if you had dishcloth feet, then you could be mopping your floor all the time. Oh, wow.
Spatula, dishcloth feet for sure.
Yeah.
Spatula hands do not help. I like my thumbs.
Yeah, I don't get what the thing with the spatula hands. That's just Has anyone ever chosen that option? Yeah, I think losing your hands and the opposable thumbs would be a big handicap, so.
Yeah, but cleaning my floors and walking at the same time would be awesome. Oh, this is just not good. The lighting in here is really terrible. It's like I have leprosy. That's no good.
Oh, no. I was thinking, you're kind of semi-translucent. You got the floating head.
I know, right?
You know, it's got that rather, cool kind of ominous they appearance.
It's the lighting in here is atrocious.
Oh, you look fine.
Thank
Oh,
you, darling.
man.
Yes. Okay. Moving on from my appearance.
So how are the puppies all doing?
Oh my gosh, they are only getting cuter every day, and now they sit up and their eyes are open and they look like little puppies instead of little grub worms, and they're recognizing humans as, hey,
Yeah, I saw
there's
the
a person. Hey, here,
Yep.
pay attention. So that's cool.
I saw
They
the little
love the
goodnight
children.
clip there you did.
Oh, they're
What was
so
that? The night
sweet.
before last?
Yeah. I try to do a little update once a week.
Mhm.
Let them grow a little bit in between so that they look different every time. But yep, I've got
Well, putting the live
homes
puppy
for
cam
2
on
of
for
them
an
for
hour at
sure.
random was good too.
I have moved them though, and my puppy cam doesn't reach, doesn't work
Ah,
that way. So I've been having to
okay.
shoot videos.
Yeah.
I brought them in the house because I thought it would be more temperate and healthier for them inside than out in the garage where we smoke cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, smoking around them while they're growing isn't a good thing.
Right. So if I'm smoking in the house, I'm right here by the back door. It is like right there. And I
Yeah,
turn the fan
smoking
on.
around you isn't a good thing either.
Well, I know, but it ain't like I haven't tried to stop it.
Yeah, I had a
I
roommate who
fail every
told me that.
time.
I had a roommate who told me that was really easy to quit smoking because he had done it dozens of times.
Oh, yeah, for a little while.
Yeah, fortunately, that was one vice I've always managed to avoid. One of the few things I credit my brother with.
I
That when
wish
I
I
was
could
a
keep.
teenager and he was in the Navy.
I wish I could have kept my kids from doing it. I want desperately for my grandchildren to not. I just tell them, don't even do it one time. If you do it one time, you'll do it forever. It's just don't.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was maybe like 14 and he was in the Navy, in the hallway at my parents' old house, that he was, tapping the pack and about to light one up, and he just looked at me and he said, "Don't ever start. You can't get rid of these things." And
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
it was so rare for him to actually address me with anything serious that really had an impact.
Yeah, that's kind of the way my parents were. They smoked and told me not to. Don't do as I say, not as I do, and that never works.
Yep.
I can't hold out a whole lot of hope for the grandkids either. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks for the guilt trip, y'all.
Sorry.
It's okay. Cheers. Get back to my caffeine.
I do have my own vices. Mostly the whiskey.
Yeah, I think everybody's got a thing that helps them get through the day, however innocuous it might be.
Well, I'm definitely, thankful to everybody who helped me with the move because, yeah, in that small town, I was definitely going to become an alcoholic. So just since I've moved, my consumption of that has cut by at least half already.
That's fantastic. I hope that means your sleeping has improved a bit as well.
No, I still don't sleep, but I didn't sleep before I moved there either. That's just been a lifelong problem that nothing really helps.
Yeah. My granddaughter is starting to get into that habit of not being able to go to sleep and then wanting to sleep all morning. Like, you can't do that. School 6 at the start.
Yeah.
But I'm a sleeper. Sleeping is my best thing. That's the thing I do absolutely best. And I don't like it when people wake me up. I could be rather crabby. What?
Oh, hey, native atheist. Oh, and milking stools here.
Nerdy
What
said-
did I switch that too soon? Did you miss
No,
that
it's
one?
okay. I saw it and then I was like, who said that? I'm looking for it over here in the thing. Nerdy said that. Naughty nerdy. I like sleeping in. I won't deny it. My usual, school routine is get up freaking ridiculously early, get the kids ready for school, send them off. Grandpa takes them to school, and I go back to bed.
Hey, Tria. Yeah, that's the way I used to do it too when I was dealing with the kids, because even then I wouldn't get to bed before like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'd have to be up at 7 to get the kids ready for school, and then after I got them on the bus, and I'd go lay down again for a while.
That's yeah.
Hey, Tria, how you doing?
Yeah, hey, it's been a while, Angie. How you been?
It has. I'm doing all right. How about yourself, girl?
Roller coaster, but hanging in there.
Whee!
Yeah, the downs are
that.
pretty bad. The downs are pretty bad, but I mean,
Yeah. I don't know which ones bother me the worst, the ups or the downs, because the ups tend to hurt afterwards because I overdo stuff. And
yeah.
And then the downs, it's like, I don't know. It's like, when you're in one, it's like, okay, well, I know the other one's coming, so I can get through this one if I know the other one's coming. I know I won't stay down here.
Yeah.
So,
It's been
medicine
difficult.
helps. I'm such a proponent of my meds.
Yeah, I'm a homebody usually, but even by normal standards for me, this is too much. I am around
I agree.
my Mormon family. Yeah, I'm around my Mormon family like constantly now, and I love them.
Honey, I'm sorry. I know
Yeah.
it's hard. Yes, I'm sorry, sweetie. Yeah, it was fun for a while for those of us who didn't really care to go anywhere anyway, and now it's getting old real fast. Like, okay, I have shit I do actually have to do sometimes, and I would like to be able to go get it done without hating everybody I walk past. I hate what it's done to my attitude because I'm not as nice as I used to be. In public.
Oh, I was never
I can't
nice.
smile. I used to just laugh with that smile and go through life, and people didn't bother me because I usually had this, whatever. And now they can't see me grinning, so I just glare at them if they don't have a mask on, and give them a little wink if they do, because they can't tell if I'm grinning or not.
I was never nice to begin with. I just pretend to be. Well, okay. I'm nice
sometimes
to
you have
people
to
I
pretend
care
to be.
about. I'm nice. I am genuinely nice to people I care about. Like, if you are my friend or a family member, I genuinely care about you and I'm nice. If you are a stranger, I tend to just pretend to be nice because it's easier, and then go home and kill pixels on my computer.
Okay, yeah, Tria, I guess Greg is mentioning that you've got an echo going there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why I do, because I have my headphones in. And my headphones are working.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can fix
With a
it.
scowl on the other. Yes.
Yeah, it's not real bad.
I'd like to have one with a great big this going on right here. Like, put your dick back in your mask. I've been calling people dick nose.
Yep.
Out loud. Your face.
Carl's been calling it that too. At least around here.
Got a new name for that.
The governor of the state finally put a regulation for people to wear masks around here.
Yeah, they
So
did
at
here
least
too.
now we've got a state
Anyway.
mandate on it.
They did for like a week, and then they found out the cops weren't going to do anything to you if you didn't, and most of the businesses around here will let you in anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just like, no.
I kind of expect that's what's going to happen here too. Because even the places
it lasted.
here
It was
that had
nice for a few
signs-
days. I enjoyed seeing everybody in a mask,
Yeah.
but it didn't last.
Even
There's
the
way too much
places here
stupid
that
where I
had
live.
signs up that everyone had to wear masks, you go inside, only half the people were wearing them.
Well, at our Walmart, they have a person standing out front and with a stack of masks, and so if you try to go in without one, they hand you one. So
Yeah.
you don't have any excuse. Like, I left it in my car. Well, here, you know. But they don't make you put the damn thing on. They don't make you put it on and leave it on while you're in the store. Then nobody, you know, you can walk by and throw it in the trash and keep right on shopping, and it's just like there's no enforcement.
That's
so
the problem I've seen. That
people around here is
wear
like,
them.
well, don't get in trouble. Why bother?
Yeah, people will wear them to walk through the door and take them off when they're 10 steps inside.
Yeah, Jesus has got me. I don't need no mask. Girl sitting across from me at the tire shop the other day had a shirt that says compassion and judgment. And then like a random Bible verse. I'm like, bitch, you got neither. And she got a glove in her, a mask in her hand. But she don't
I
put
saw
it
you
on.
post that on Twitter.
I
really?
am so mad at particular proponents of my family. They were like, well, people are out there protesting, and because I don't like the protesting, and they're putting everybody at risk by protesting, and they're looting and stuff, I don't have to wear a mask. And I'm like,
yeah, how are
and
those
we're
things at all
talking
related?
people that are older than you, Angie.
And you know, you look at them, and you look at them, you think two wrongs don't make a right. That's always been a thing. That's not new.
And I'm just like, I know for a fucking fact that your parents taught you better because they practically helped raise my dad too. And I know exactly what they taught him. And I'm just like, you are so damn lucky I don't feel like dealing with all of y'all, because I'm halfway tempted to get in a freaking car. And everybody knows how much I fucking hate driving. I'm halfway tempted to get in a car, travel over there, bitch slap them all, and then drive back home. That is how pissed I am at them. Just be like, no.
Give them the Batman slap.
I'm not for physical violence either. But it's just like,
no.
I know at this point they're not worth speaking to, so it would just feel better to just be like, bad child.
Yeah, my immediate family has figured out it's easier to just bend to my will and wear the damn mask than to hear me bitch about it constantly. So they literally just do it. Or at least they do it when I can see them. I don't know what they're doing when they're out of my sight. But
I told my dad, I was like, look, your favorite cousins are being assholes. And he is like, how bad? And I'm going, pretty damn bad. The next time you talk to them. He went to nursing school. Now, granted, he went to nursing school like 40 years ago. However, there are some things that no matter what, no matter what, don't change. And I was like, lay on the nurse guilt. Just like, if you talk to them, please lay on the nurse guilt for me.
Yes, do it. Use that.
Okay, I think I fixed the echo. I don't hear it anymore. I think what it is that some of the sound was leaking from my headphones into my mic.
I've got just a little bit of it, but not nearly as bad.
Yeah.
I don't hear an echo. I just kind of hear like a background hiss.
Oh, the background hiss is my fan. I apologize. That's not going anywhere.
No problem.
Yeah, and our AC technically doesn't work properly.
Oh, no.
It works, but not well enough. And also, all of the trees are now gone in our yard. Which, Angie, you live in the South. You know what happens when the trees are gone.
Oh no, even up here, I know the difference.
Shade.
Yeah, if you don't have some shade from the afternoon sun, things heat up a lot more. The side chat's gotten quiet. Did we scare everyone away?
That's because we're so interesting. They're listening.
They were probably like, "Oh no, she's resorting to physical violence." Everybody
Well,
knows.
I was just thinking, they're like, oh goddamn, Angie's gonna do nothing but sit there and giggle the whole fucking time. Let's go find something else to do. I'm sorry. Can't help it. That's my punctuation. I punctuate my sentences with factor and sorts and things.
Nerdy's like, "I know I'm scared."
Yeah, I was going to highlight that, but there seems such a lag between the YouTube and the StreamYards lately. That
Yeah, there's
it just
such a
takes too long for the
good-
stuff to come up for me to highlight it.
Yeah, I'm also gonna move
I
my
noticed
mic
that
back
too.
a little. Let's see if that helps.
I'm just glad my internet's holding up today. My stream yesterday was such crap. So,
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know
no.
if I had an echo when I started out, because until Angie came in, I didn't even realize I didn't have it to the headphones. So, and I've been reconfiguring my system. Yeah.
Everybody blamed me, but I didn't do it.
Didn't do
Is it
what?
me?
What I missed?
is it gone when I muted?
Didn't you just say that you didn't have your headphones in properly?
Yeah. Oh,
No, my family sent we're not going to do masks, we're not going to do lockdowns, we're not going to boycott businesses. This is the new civil disobedience movement. And I'm like,
What a lousy time to become actually like patriotic and not. I mean, oh my gosh.
well, I mean, and that's not even fucking patriotic. If you want, like, honestly, what I'm about to freaking do with my family is find a bunch of links and pictures and be like, hey, since y'all hate protests so much, do you hate the Constitution? Do you hate your founding fathers? Because that's basically what they did. They threw a temper tantrum, said, fuck you, King George.
well, and that's basically what people are doing now, is saying, fuck America, let's listen to Trump.
I'll tell you, most of the attitude that I see around here is like, it's a nobody's going to tell me what to do. I live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and yeah, we got some serious Trumpers with bumper stickers and shit around here. But I think most of people, it's an attitude they already had, and he just makes it okay to behave that way.
But they also don't see the hypocrisy that at the same time, it's okay for them to take away the rights from other people.
Well, that's like the tire shop that I was in yesterday is a locally owned mom and pop business. I know the people who, own the shop. They're always there to do a benefit or a fundraiser or something to help people in need. And I'm thinking, man, I thought I lived in a great little town with kind, loving, caring about other people. And then I walk in there, not a single one of the employees is wearing a mask. There's babies and children hanging out in the back office. And, two of the customers have masks, one of them being me. And the rest of them are all uncovered, and nobody says a word. There's no sign. I almost lit a cigarette in there. I wanted to so bad.
Yeah,
I almost did, because it was hot, and I sat outside. And I was like, if they don't figure out the virus, well, they can't hear about cigarette smoke.
If I thought that it would get me anywhere, I would be like, you know what y'all are trying to do, right? Your little temper tantrum is about murdering other people because you don't like what Joe down the block is doing. Mm-hmm. It is like you want to either murder or disable somebody, because not everybody comes out disabled or dead from COVID, but a good portion of people who survive it are permanently disabled.
Yeah. Well, and we've got no idea what the long-term effects are going to be on a lot of people, but yeah, pretty much everybody who comes through it has some kind of permanent lung damage. There's so much scarring on the lungs, they never have the breathing capacity again.
Yeah, and like, it's just like, you want to risk that for somebody else just because you don't like how somebody else is behaving. I know your parents didn't put up with that when you were a child.
Yeah.
Right.
I know my parents
Yeah,
did.
there's a lot of people.
My mom, if she were
Weren't you raised
around,
better?
if my mom, if she were around, she caught me not wearing a mask, she would be like, "Excuse the hell out of you, child. I will make your life
mine too.
hell."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I will say I'm glad my dad missed this. He missed it by that much. Lucky bastard. Damn it. I'm
There's
glad he
parts
missed
of me. There's parts of me that wishes she were around because she would have everybody acting straight around her.
Oh,
But
man,
at the same token, at the same token, though, she had cancer the last 10 years of her life, and she was very immunocompromised, and I would not want her to live through COVID.
Exactly.
I guess maybe I wish I could channel her spirit a little bit better. Would probably be the best compromise to that.
Oh, I hear
I'm not putting
out
up
my
with
mouth
y'all.
all the time, so whether I want it to or not.
I do, but it's hard in numbers.
Okay.
If it's one-on-one.
So this explains it. I was wondering why there weren't any links when new people came in.
What?
I'm used to Mega Nuts always dropping the link whenever somebody new joins the chat, so I was wondering what had happened.
Oh, speaking of links.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, GC is trying to buy a house. I'm pretty sure everybody already knows what's going on with that, but basically GC was told, "Hey, we're selling the house to a new investor, and the new investor's okay with you staying." And then GC got told, "Nope, new investor wants you out."
Yeah. They were told they've got 60 days to move out.
And he lives in an area where rent is incredibly high, especially if you have 3 dogs, and it's actually cheaper long term for him to go ahead and buy a house.
Yeah, well, especially if you've got multiple animals, it's really hard to rent.
Yes. We pay more for the pet deposit than we did anything else in here.
Oh, yeah. Like,
too many dogs. Now I have more because puppies.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, GC has 3. GC has 3 dogs, so.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't get is people will be like, "Oh, you can't have dogs or cats and they destroy things and blah 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 blah," and then they're just like, "But you can have children," and I'm like,
"Yeah, my kids are way more destructive than the dogs ever thought about."
I'm just like,
I can fix that little weather stripping by the door with a scratch to be let in, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
my cat ruins the furniture.
My kids like to drag their hands because they can now walk down the hall dragging their hands along the wall. Those sides. What are you doing? Stop! Mine's hard on sheets, but that's pretty much the only furniture. She got her own little cat tree to sit on and shred if she wants, but she's happy. That's her vantage point. You can see everything.
Yeah.
I'm just learning how to be a cat parent. I've actually had a cat for several years, but she was an outside cat. And
yeah.
I didn't have to parent her very much. Now I'm having to learn how to parent an indoor cat.
Pick a piece of furniture you don't really care about. Let the cat use that as their scratching post.
Yep.
I've basically
that's why she has her own.
Be like, "Oh, train them to use a scratching post," and I'm like, I have tried everything under the sun. Elmer won't go for it, so we're going with that piece of furniture over there is his.
What most people don't get is it's the placement. The placement of the furniture is very important. That they want to, mark whatever's closest to the walkway. Wherever the major traffic pattern is.
Okay. Gotcha.
So,
She pretty much lives in my bedroom. She comes out once in a while, but she really doesn't want anything to do with the dogs. So she prefers to that's her little castle in there. And
Well,
she just kind of stays in there.
here
of her
was
own
my
free will.
solution
Have
to
faith, but
Sammy
she
scratching.
doesn't know.
Here was my solution to Sammy scratching on my recliner. I just mount his scratching board right on the side of it. Let him go at it.
I tried that, and
Oh,
and
perfect.
Elmer was just like, "I know what you're doing, woman," and no.
That's not going to work for me. Ooh, he switched. Yay, my head is smaller. Thank you, Purple.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even do that on purpose. Just with the sharing, it changed the arrangement.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.
Yes, I'm.
Yep.
Oh,
Thanks,
cool,
Mika, for.
See-through.
Oh. More cool special effects.
Oh, jeez.
I'm a dork. That's okay. Go ahead.
Oh man.
I don't know how you stand it without air conditioner, Tria. It's hot.
Oh,
I have air conditioning.
fans.
I know.
Yeah. I have 3 fans in my room. I bought Elmer a cooling pad, and I put his wet food in the fridge before I feed it to him. He seems to really like that right now.
Yeah. Nice.
I've been begging my dad to just like have us move because there's just so many problems with this house, and I know that it's cheaper to be here than anywhere else, and I realize that he just doesn't want to deal with moving, but at the same token, I'm just like, our AC doesn't work. We don't have we don't have a washer or dryer or a big freezer because those appliances break within like 3 or 4 months of having them out in our garage, which tells me there's something wrong with the wiring out there. And even if we convince our landlord to fix it, he's going to send like the cheapest people who are probably going to break it worse than it already is.
That's awful. That's not okay.
It's not, but I can't move out without my sister, and I can't, and she doesn't want to move. She wants all of us to stay together. And I get that, and I understand that, and and it's one of those things where I feel like trying to convince her to move when she doesn't really want to is going to cause more harm than good. So,
yeah.
I've tried begging, pleading, persuading, making it sound fun. Changing her environment in that radical a fashion is just not going to happen unless Dad okays it for whatever reason in her head, and so I just deal.
Yeah, well, moving is a horrendous task and stressful at the best of times.
Yeah, and changing her environment, you don't like. Dad has made the mistake of accidentally leaving stuff on her little table in the living room where she keeps her computer, and she is freaked out every time. She's just,
oh dear.
Like, you do not change her environment.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I change her environment is basically, hey, things are so cluttered for you that you can't even find your stuff. I need to reorganize a little bit so that you can find things, clear things away. Is that okay? And then she'll tell me yes. And then she'll say, but I want to watch so I know where everything goes. Okay, that's cool. But changing her environment, you don't change her routine or her environment.
No, I'm on the autistic spectrum. I can get that.
I really suspect that she is too. I really do.
No, if somebody comes in and moves stuff around in my space, it is very disturbing.
Yeah, I really suspect.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of it, so I understand for
Yeah.
somebody who might not be completely aware of it that could, just be like seem like supernatural things happening.
Yeah, and so I'm really, really careful about that with her. Some of the things that some of my autistic friends have told me have actually helped her. Stuff like we've learned that her writing notes actually helps her communicate better. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times I'll wake up in the morning and there'll be sticky notes all over my door
Yep.
when I open it. And I'm just like, hey, as long as I'm getting the message, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I found that too when I was in a relationship that writing things down was much better than trying to just have discussions, because there would always my mind would jump around too much and I'd leave parts out.
Yeah. Well, she is I don't remember the proper term. I think it's selectively mute,
Mhm.
where if she hits a certain stress level, she can't talk to you anymore. She just can't. It
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. And also, there are some things that she doesn't understand how to ask for. Like the other day, she basically looked at me and said, I'm out of water. And I'm like, how long have you been out of water? Like, because she drinks from water bottles. It's easier for her to manage.
Mhm.
And she says, I'm out of water bottles. I said, how long have you been out of water bottles? Oh, 3 days. Did, did, did you tell Dad? No, I just told you. And I'm like, okay, well, if you tell me earlier, I can handle it and fix it earlier. And but she can't help it. She's stressed right now. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And Orla's saying text gives her more time to process what she wants to say. Like I said, I don't care how she communicates as long as I get the message.
Yep.
At this point, because it's been hard to guess, and I have guessed wrong a few times.
Yeah. I found for me the text works a lot
Yeah.
better too, and I actually think that's a big part of why, like, my last 3 serious relationships all started with typing over the computer, because it's like people kind of have to get used to communicating with me that way before things get serious. Otherwise, it's not going to go very well.
I don't
Yeah.
know. There's a small part of me that wants to be in a partnership, but it's always overridden by the burnt out. I don't really feel like dealing with it.
Yeah.
Well, you're emotionally invested in a lot of things right now, and that makes it hard to add more
Well,
emotional stress to that.
yeah, and
Makes
we
it
had
hard.
we had a discussion in one of our ACE singles groups. It's not a dating group. It's basically a we're all single and ACE,
Yeah.
and we're here for each other kind of thing.
Kind of group therapy.
And yeah,
Yeah.
group therapy basically. And the ages range. It's basically 18 plus, and we have people who just turned 18 all the way up to 70 years old. And I've noticed a trend with a lot of the 30 plus group. Most of us complain about having been so burnt out and taught so vehemently that we're not allowed to date as aces,
Yeah.
and internalized all of that a lot of us don't even try anymore.
Okay. I don't know enough about the subject to please forgive if any of my questions sound ignorant
no.
or anything like
No,
that. But
go ahead.
why are we not allowed to date? I'm not allowed to date. I get that.
Okay.
But
It's not. People don't outright say it, but you're sent little subliminal messages along the way. Stuff like "sex is what makes us human." Why bother being in a relationship without sex. Well, what about the other person?
Oh,
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of us heard that so much and weren't affirmed and were abused by partners, or people expected sex out of us, that we just got so burnt out by the messages we were sent and the way we were treated that a lot of us just don't even try. And some like me, to the point, see it happening on the horizon, be like, oh shit, I caught the feels. Nope, not acting on them. Not worth it. Nope, not acting on them. And it's hard. And like,
wow.
and the younger kids who have like had Tumblr and social media and like have had support are all like, well, I'm going to go out and date and find another ace person, or I'm going to go out and date and find an allo that's okay with me.
Yeah.
And they do. But the 30 plus group was just like, it was just easier and better for us to not even try. It was safer. And we were so burnt out by it that we just avoid it. We don't even bother. And it's sad because a lot of people have a deeper desire for relationships than I do.
Yeah.
And they deserve to find that if that's what they really want. But so many of us are just like, we don't want to deal with this bullshit again. We don't want to have to sort through all of the shitty ass people who quite possibly are not going to even bother to try to understand us. It's like people will be like, well, you have to go through all the bad ones to get to the good one. And we're like, well, all we found is bad, and we're tired of going through bad, so not worth it.
I get it.
Yeah, I
appreciate the straightforward answer too. Not making me feel like an idiot. I stopped asking questions in certain circles because if you ask a question, they're like, "Oh, you're a whatever phobe." You know, I'm like, "No, I just don't get it. Somebody explain it."
Depending on, I've learned when somebody's genuinely asking and when somebody is being an ass. It's a little bit harder to tell on Twitter, but like for me, I'm just like, look, and part of it too is sometimes you get asked the same questions over and over and over again, and when you've had difficult experiences related to those questions, it can be very, very draining. For me, most of the time, genuine questions aren't draining.
Well, I totally.
But for other people, it can.
Celibacy. I don't know about being ace, but I do comprehend celibacy by choice.
Yeah.
So I don't like to give
a choice
about that. But well, it's a choice because of circumstances I don't control. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Medical issues. Let's call it that in a very polite way.
Yeah. I am celibate by choice because I don't like sex. I don't enjoy it. It's not an enjoyable experience for me. And it was made worse by trauma. Well, and the thing is that, like, who you are attracted to is not a choice. What you do with those attractions is.
Yes, I agree.
And
that makes perfect sense.
And the thing is that for most people, that all works together like super smoothly. For me, it's broken up into several different fragments that make sense in my head, but everybody else is just like, what? For instance,
that's why I don't respond well to flirting or innuendos and stuff. It's like, I don't want to think about it. Don't talk to me about it because I don't want to think about it. Because then I start thinking about it, and then that makes me want to do it, and then I don't want to do that. You know, I just don't want to think about it.
Well,
it's easier that way.
Like,
I do like
for
this.
me,
like I said, if I get to do it, it's fun. But
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
staying muted
and
mostly because I've got the storm sirens going off behind me here.
also Nerdy wrote, it says a
You
genuine
okay?
question also doesn't include an ad hominem attack. What's going on, Purple?
Just the storm sirens going off, but it's perfectly clear, so I'm guessing it's just because it's the
Oh, they
first
test.
Wednesday of the month they're probably testing.
Uh,
Yep.
um,
I don't hear them if it
No.
makes you feel any better.
and also, some people get edgy when things are worded a certain way,
Yeah.
because a lot of these ideas are rooted in harmful, like, let's say, for instance, a question that makes me a little bit edgy, and I know when it's asked, even when it's asked in good faith, and I'm patient and I make sure that I don't take that out on a person who is asking in good faith. But a question I get asked a lot
Yeah.
is, did trigger warning talking about assault? Did your assault
I'm okay.
make you ace? And here's the problem with that line of thinking. A lot of times people think, well, if it was trauma, then you can go to a doctor and either get medication
And fix it. Yeah.
and fix it. It's something to
Yeah,
be
because they think you need to be fixed because you don't want to do the wild thing. That's just nope.
Yeah.
And even if that
Nope.
person is asking out of genuine concern for you, like I have had friends who genuinely care for me
Yeah.
ask me that question, and I've been like, I'm glad you asked me, for one, because I know where you're coming from, but it's like, look, that is rooted in the idea that aces are broken and need to be fixed. And while yes, I do need therapy,
Right.
I do not need therapy for being ace. I need therapy for the abuse that I got because I was
Right.
ace.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Yeah,
to make
that's-
you cry.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry. We can talk about
I've been having a
something else. I
rough
just
time
got-
on Twitter. I've been having a rough time on Twitter. Cirrus made a joke, and I wound up in an argument with somebody who was just like, just get over it. And we were just like, we have valid reasons for this, and you're downplaying them. So either shut the fuck up and go away, or listen to what we're telling you. One of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't do Twitter much. Because I can't deal with this. Retort back my opinion, even though it was not asked for.
Well, the thing is that I personally don't really like Twitter, but it is the place where I get the most visibility. So,
Yep.
if I were doing something
Like
other
Walmart,
than like
damn it,
education, yeah, if I were doing something like not educational and just like venting or doing like support or something, I would totally not be on that platform. But unfortunately, that is the place where I am most visible, the place I am most likely to get people to see what I'm saying. So, but that comes with the consequence of I get assholes. Yeah. Sometimes it's good. I've made a couple of good friends off of Twitter who I meet up.
Yeah. Like I
yeah.
quit Facebook more or less, and because it was such a shit show, and then I covered Twitter and.
I have 2 Facebooks, and my
shit show.
Facebook,
Like, oh my god, people have no filter here.
My personal Facebook, I log into once a day. I chat with my best friend for like 2 or 3 hours. Don't even look at my Facebook feed, and then say I love you, and then log out.
Yeah.
I log into Facebook about once a month just because some people, that's the only way they have to reach me. But and Twitter, it's like I've got like a dozen private groups I'm in now, but I generally don't go into the public areas much.
I need to learn to not go into the public areas unless I specifically said something.
Yeah.
I
made the mistake of letting myself get dragged into that discussion about if rocks are atheist. I should have never gotten into that.
I avoided that until
my afternoon delight yesterday. Did you?
I avoided that until s03e did the rocks are asexual thing, and then I was like, "No, you're not doing that."
Oh,
and
I missed that part of it. It branches off so much that's hard to even see what's going on.
Yeah, I was just like, please don't do that because a lot of aces get dehumanized and this is going to be used against us. Please don't, s03e.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a response from him, but I'm hoping that maybe me saying that will prevent other people in our community from picking that up. Because I can take a joke if it's done well. But it's hard for me to take a joke when I've had explicit experience in being dehumanized.
Yeah.
And that is where my problem lies with that. And I know he didn't mean it that way. Please don't go and like go off on s03e.
Oh no.
He probably even like went through his girlfriends and boyfriends. I know one of his partners is non-binary, so I don't know. But I know he went through his partners to say, "Hey, is this okay?" And they probably okayed it, not thinking about it. Because every ace is going to have a completely different experience. I just happen to get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, s03e is usually very aware of those things, but I don't think anyone in his household is ace, though.
At least one is.
Okay.
They're gray ace. They're gray ace. I don't remember whether or not they're gray ace or demi or what have you, but I know at least one is. And that particular partner has talked about it. I don't remember whether or not it was Nox or Raz or I don't remember which one. So, but I know one of his partners has.
I guess I don't really know about Nox, so.
I actually had talked with s03e a little bit, and he has so many people on his channel, so he probably doesn't remember this conversation with me. But I had been talking about the possibility of making a channel and talking about asexuality, and he was like, "Oh, would you please? Because one of my partners has to deal with that shit all the time, and it would be nice if more people were talking about stuff."
Yeah, sorry, Nerdy. I was occupied. I didn't see this right away.
Nerdy, is that a flag of surrender or a hit me, I'm a target flag?
Yeah, Angie, you were saying something.
What's that?
You started to say something about your afternoon stream yesterday, and I've got that in my playlist, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
I basically I've decided I'm not an atheist. I've rejected the label of atheist, and I'm now a nog. And capital N-O, capital G. Nog. No gods.
Okay.
Then there's no arguing over the definition. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm a nog.
Okay, I'm saying
Hashtag
this
nog.
is an ace. I'm saying this is an ace. It is hard to define the lack of harder to define the lack of something than it is something that's actually there.
Well,
especially in the English language.
it's not a thing. It's just a way of being. Yeah. So I get that the whole rock thread thing was tongue in cheek and cheeky, and everybody was kind of joking around, but it stems from a real argument that people are really having, and some of those people are really serious, and they need to get the hell off their high horses and move on.
Well, okay,
know?
and I argue it from a logical standpoint. But yeah, I don't really get why people get so emotional about it. Why do
Because people want their neat little boxes and they want everything to make sense and they want it to all fit the right way. And guess what? Humans don't fucking work that way. We don't fit in your cute little boxes. You cannot fucking simplify us. We are complex things.
God, the good one is sad because I have no God. That's funny. And he'll be my exception. I told him present company excluded. He was there when I said it.
Like,
yeah,
and that's the thing is that, like, well, and like every atheist is going to look at their atheism differently. Mine is simply gods could exist, but I got no proof, and until you give me proof. And then there are other people who go around claiming they're like, I know gods don't exist, and I'm like, cool, that's your viewpoint. Cool.
in all of the online atheist community, I have not heard anyone declare that gods do not exist. I've heard people say they're 99% sure that gods don't exist.
Oh, I've come across some, and they're just like, your gods don't exist. You're delusional.
Okay.
And I'm like...
Now saying a specific god, particularly the Bible God, doesn't exist, yes. But saying that no gods at all exist, I have not heard.
I've come across it. Mostly on Twitter. Which is probably why you haven't, is because you avoid all the public stuff. I don't get involved in the discussions. I don't get involved in the discussions until somebody throws out the word delusional. Because I'm like, bitch, no, you are not a psychiatrist or a psychologist.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up until you go and get a degree.
Okay. So there are people who are taking that stance.
Yeah. No, and I don't mind that stance as long as you're not... I don't mind that stance as long as you're not being an ableist prick about other people believing in gods.
Well,
once you hit the ableism, no.
I'm still willing to go along with a somewhat deist position that it may be possible that some kind of thing put the universe into motion, but hasn't shown up in the last 2,000 years. Maybe.
Yeah. I go with I was really wrong as a Mormon. There's a chance I'm still wrong.
Yeah.
As long as there's a chance I'm still wrong, I'm not going to make definitive statements on things I don't know about.
Well, I can't buy any of the Bible stuff because it's self-contradictory.
I take your word for it because I didn't get a lot of Bible and I refuse to go back and read it because that sounds painful.
That's why we don't watch Junk Shop now. We don't actually have to read it ourselves.
Yeah. I read it as a teenager, and that's what put me off the Bible for the rest of my life. And I've tried to go back and reread it, but it's just so badly written.
I need
so
to
many
go
boring
through
parts.
And do what I've been threatening to do, which is go into the Pearl of Great Price and go into the Doctrine and Covenants and do streams where I discuss like the worst of it. Like, because I'm not reading the whole thing all the way through. I'm not doing that to y'all. I'm not fucking doing that to myself. But the weird ass Mormon doctrines, most of them aren't actually in the Book of Mormon. and people don't realize this.
Yeah, that's a lot of what goes on with the Christians too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't really say that in the book, y'all know, right? Jesus never said he loved anybody, especially not you. Acting like that with no mask on.
That was
Well-
a big part of what put me off of the Bible, was when I started reading it and tried to talk to people in church about it, realizing that they were quoting a lot of stuff that wasn't in there.
My favorite one was always, God helps those who help themselves. It's like, that's not in the book.
Yep.
It's not in there. Not even.
In fact, Jesus taught the antithesis of that, which was, if you can help, you should help.
Yeah, and that's a big part I have with the evangelicals now, is Jesus was definitely a socialist.
Yeah. And if he were to come back, they'd throw his ass out on the street and be like, nope, we don't want nothing to do with you. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's like, I have had a couple of Mormon friends who are kind of like getting to the point where they're really questioning stuff. And they were just like, holy shit, all the rules kind of remind me of the Pharisees, and Jesus had a lot to say about that. And I'm just like, keep going, honey. Keep going.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying anything.
And that's the big part of when they're doing sermons that combine the Old and New Testaments, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christianity would work. Christianity would work a whole lot better if they said that, you know, Jesus had canceled out the old laws and we're starting new here.
Yeah. Because the God of the Old Testament is completely different from the way it's written in the New Testament. It's completely different.
They're not really afraid of not being able to recognize Jesus when he comes back. What they're really afraid of is that Jesus won't have nothing to do with them when he comes back. That's what they're really scared of.
Well, if they would stop acting like assholes.
It's a good place to hit.
Not that Jesus exists, but
yeah, that's what it was for. That was for doorknob.
Yeah, I've learned that. I've learned that basically you have to argue using the Bible and act like you're Christian to get them to listen to you, which I hate doing. I really hate doing, but I'm just like, listen, here's the passage where it says you're wrong.
Upgraded Dave.
Angie's the new Dave.
Changed severely too. Y'all, this was an accident, just so you know. I didn't do this on purpose. I'm not cool enough to do it on purpose. It was a, whoops, my shirt disappeared.
Sorry, Tree.
I jammy, so there's that. It's probably better.
It's okay.
Me too. Sorry.
I just read something from Orla, and I was typing out something to Orla. But I mean, I basically know most of like Jesus' sermons. Like they did focus on that part, and what little I know does not match up with how most people act.
Yeah. But some of it does. It's so weird the way they.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't help
because
that
the book
it's
is, like you said, it's so badly written. It tells you to love one another, and then it tells you to kill people that disagree with you in the same damn breath. You know, and wipe the dust of their town off your feet, and you know, that kind of thing. It's just, come on. So
I'm sorry. The echo is making it hard for me to know when to speak up. I'm sorry, Angie. I don't mean to keep interrupting.
It's okay.
You.
Me too. And we have a little delay too going on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's not helping. But so the most loving thing God ever did was send his son to be tortured and die for our sins.
Yep.
So of course, what logically, killing somebody who doesn't believe in God is loving. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, that's not
No.
that's not loving. Like, I remember the biggest disconnect for me while I was trying to figure things out was like, I had an example of a loving dad growing up, and I was taught that God is a loving Heavenly Father. He is our actual Father.
Yeah.
And I was just like looking at the
Right.
example of my dad, who sacrificed everything for us, who made sure that, tried to prevent us from getting hurt to the best of his abilities, gave us room to
Nothing to help
grow.
you.
Yeah, didn't hate us for things that we couldn't control. That if he did something that made us do certain things, or if he felt like he messed up in raising us somewhere, and that's where our mistakes were made, he didn't blame us for them. He blamed himself. And so I looked at that, and then I looked at the God that I was taught in church, and I was like, I have an example of a loving dad, and he is nothing like God. How is God a loving
Bingo.
father?
Yeah. Well, that was the first crack I remember was probably before I was 8 years old, was asking one of the nuns that if God is all loving, how can he fry half of his own creations? And I never got a straight answer to that.
Yeah. I was made the way I am, and yet God hates certain aspects of that. There are certain aspects about me my dad does not like and cannot stand. But one, he doesn't cut me off for it, and two, he didn't really have any control over a lot of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not to blame for those things. But if God is in complete control of everything, and he blames me for how I am, it's
Something
technically
done
his fault.
Yeah.
It's his fault.
Yep.
Yeah. I went through that same thing where when I first started having real serious doubts about what I was believing being true and stuff. And of course, the first thing you do is go to the source. You go to the spring for refreshment and refilling of the spirit, because I'm having doubts. God help me out. And there was none of that. It just kept the sanity here was pushing through the insanity of what I had been thinking. And there wasn't no going back. There's no, that's why I say I hold the belief that there is no gods, because if, as well as I can know something, I'm not one of those people who goes, truth with a capital T or no with a capital K or any of that bullshit. A human can only know what a human can know and experience in their own reality, and blah. That's as far would, in my opinion, be a very different place if there were. So that's my evidence. Look around you. There's no way something all powerful is in control of all of this. It's too much chaos.
Well, and that was not what led me from being ex-Mormon, but it's what made me inactive. Was I would ask questions and clarifications, because Mormonism is extremely contradictory. Even more so than regular Christianity.
Right.
And I was asking for clarifications because I was confused and stuff like that. And at best, I got told, go ask God, he'll tell you what you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And at worst I got, well, you're I'm trying to think of how to word it. You are not respecting my authority as a priesthood holder. Basically, they got mad because they couldn't answer the question, and so
you shouldn't even have
because their ego was fragile. They blamed me. They accused me of being anti-authority. which funnily enough, that actually made me actually dead.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where I kept hearing "ask God" so often. I was like, well, if I'm asking God all the questions and you obviously don't have them, then the fuck do I need y'all for? And they're like, no, you need us. And I'm like, for what?
For what? And if I can think for myself, God made my brain so wonderful that I can think for myself and I don't need you. It was the whole thinking for myself, and it just occurred to me. I was like, everything I know about this God, this whole thing, is something someone else has told me. Because I read the book, and it's, as a teenager, I had to go through it, and then I had read through it again with a study guide a couple of times, and it was just like, I read it front to back, and it didn't do anything for me except for letting me go, oh, ew, what? No, a lot. I always thought that God had way too many human emotions to be real. To be really God. It's like, well, God wouldn't be jealous. He doesn't have anything to be jealous of. Why would he be jealous of other gods if they're not real? And that kind of thing. So it's
the thing is that, again,
pray on it, and I did. So God said, I'm not real. Go find something else to do. I did.
Well, the thing is that the Old Testament actually does admit that there were other gods. In the Jewish tradition, there are actual other gods, which is why I say the God of the Old Testament is a completely different one than the one in the New Testament.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have that discussion with Mormons, especially because technically speaking, there is room for polytheism in a very weird roundabout way in Mormonism.
Yeah, that was so, he would have contests and whose God is better, and there would be and the whole thing about the Israelites in Egypt, when he could have just, because God hardened his heart. That's what it was. It was because God had hardened Pharaoh's heart that he wouldn't let them go. And I'm like, well, he's just playing mind games with these people. He just wants to hurt people and send all these plagues to show how big and bad he is. But it's not really helping the Israelites at all.
No,
it's definitely not helping the Egyptians want to let them go.
Well, and the thing is that Joseph Smith didn't personally like that. When he first started out, so he actually did a retranslation of the Bible, which was basically either I don't like this or this is hard to sell to everybody, so I'm going to change it.
So let's change it. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't realize that
basically what Constantine did, right?
Yeah. The Bible that I read is slightly different, and there are times where I realize that, oh, wait, that was the Joseph Smith translation, not the Bible everybody else is reading. Because when I hear people say Pharaoh hardened his heart, I instinctively go, no, it wasn't God that hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh hardened his own heart, and that's why he got punished.
Well,
but that's not what the book says.
But that's not what the Bible says.
Yeah.
But we're taught both how it reads off to other people and the Joseph Smith translation. But my brain automatically goes to the Joseph Smith translation.
What? Nut. Made me forget what I was going to say.
I don't even know how to react to that doorknob.
I like it.
Doorknob.
Okay.
The comments.
To be fair, there's a secret part of me that hopes that someday all of the Mormon temples crumble to the ground. But not with anybody in it. No.
I don't wish harm on anybody.
I don't wish harm on anybody, but temples are basically huge, rich consent violations.
Yeah.
So,
One of the things that I could never get, that I thought would always have to make people wonder, like in the pioneer days in the old West towns, that more often than anything, it was the church that got struck by lightning because it was the tallest building in town. So why didn't people ever start questioning why God always kept hitting the churches?
probably because somebody was acting up in church and needed to be
They're letting it
punished.
Yeah, I'm sure the preachers
Yeah, that's the
usually
thing that
twisted
always
it
gets
that
me
way.
about-
That
Yeah, it's like, oh,
How come your
somebody
church
was not
burned
acting
down?
right. You all need to straighten up, fly right.
It's like God saying, if you were on fire, I would piss on you and put you out. It's like, come on, that's bad. Your church is on fire. Why can't God put your fire out? I just don't get it.
Well, the thing is that, like, I understand people are twitchy about, like, when I say I wish that the temples would crumble, they get twitchy because they're like, that's a religious building and we should respect religion. And I'm like, I don't think you understand what the hell goes on in those temples. And I don't think you understand that nothing about them is consensual in any way, shape, fashion, or form. And and the way I look at things is, if your religion is not causing harm, if you are not causing harm to other people, and you're not trying to force it on everybody else, cool. The moment you start causing harm, or you start trying to coerce other people into your religious system, you've lost your privileges, and you get to take you get your toys taken away, and you get to go home.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we don't talk about the pagans very much, because generally they're off doing their own thing and not bugging anyone.
Yeah, and most pagans are actually actively trying to keep their communities from being harmful. They actually do try to make sure that the woo stays down to a certain level. That, the racism, hell, Declaration 127 is a thing. And I've read up on it, and they actually don't just claim that they're anti-racist. They do things to combat it. Not saying that pagans don't have their problems, but they seem to have a better handle on things than other communities.
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time in the pagan community, and there are definitely some scary groups and some very cultish ones, but they do a pretty good job of checking their own. They, generally those kind of groups don't get to grow very large.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we could take a few pages out of their books to try to keep things in line, because being around atheists is like being around cats who are on. Being around atheists are like herding cats that are on steroids and are not cats but saber-toothed tigers.
Well, it's like a comment I made yesterday was, it just looks like the community is eating itself from the inside out. And it's just frustrating because I care about so many of the people in our immense little group here that I can't stand to see them all infighting with each other over something as stupid as babies or atheists or not. It's like, come on, really? Do we not have better things that we can actually agree on to move forward than to be stuck in
well, I have
stupid arguments?
I have had people make snide comments about combining my atheism with LGBTQ plus issues. And I don't remember quite how they worded it, but it was like something to the effect of, when atheists started caring about social issues versus just atheism, that was the downfall of atheism type comments. And I'm like,
well,
first of all,
that's the history of the atheism plus thing. That
first of all, I was
don't understand that.
I was atheist. Second of all, I am not about to separate those two things because I am not going to compartmentalize things that affect each other. I would not be atheist without being ace. Being ace is what led me out of the Mormon church.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
there's
was
no way I
definitely-
could talk about leaving without talking about being LGBTQ plus and the doctrines that led me out because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
So
I got you. I know that the thing that gets me is that's why I started looking elsewhere, because I kept thinking, well, you know, I knew gay people. I had gay people in my family, things like that. It's like, how do I justify I'm supposed to hate this person because God doesn't like them? Why doesn't God
Yeah.
like them? I understand they're made the way they are. Well, then that means God doesn't like me because I'm made the way I am, and I have doubts, and I do things that aren't exactly Christian. But you know, yeah, it's. I've started
Yeah.
rambling. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's
Escapes
fine.
me.
No,
It's just-
I think
The
that's a
arguing,
pretty
the
common.
backbiting, and it's like church
And
flashbacks.
Angie, I
here
think what
lately.
you're saying, is the thought process that a great number of people in this community have gone through.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
thing is that, like, for me, I don't talk really a lot about being atheist. I talk about being ex-Mormon and leaving Mormonism. That partially because, for me personally, becoming ex-Mormon was like the shattering step for me. Like,
Yeah.
I basically went from ex-Mormon to I'm inactive to, well, I guess I'm just Christian, but go to church, to, okay, well, I guess I'm
Yeah.
atheist now.
You know,
Like,
Yeah, you just start falling down the stairs. Once you start, you can't quite stop.
yeah.
But-
And for most
Yeah.
people, it went from I'm not Christian anymore to I'm an atheist. So for them, the earth shattering event was becoming atheist. For me, that was
Yeah.
just the last tiniest little step on the long line of, like you put it, falling down
Yeah.
the stairs.
Well, see, I know as a Christian, we thought Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses were crazy anyway, because they were all going to go to hell because they had added to or subtracted from God's word, which is a big no-no, right? You don't add to or subtract
Yep.
from it. This is it. You don't get to have extra books. You don't get to have, the Book of Mormon. That's not how it works. And so when I discounted my God, I just kind of discounted everything, because if what I know to be knowing is not real, then what I need to find out is what is. And
Yeah,
I haven't found
well,
anything
and
yet.
even when I gave up on the Bible, I still had the sense that there was something else out there. So that's why I spent 25 years looking into all sorts of pagan things, and it was like, okay, the Bible God's full of shit, but maybe there are other gods, and it's like, yeah, 25 years of that, and it's like, nope, there's nothing to any of these. So it was a very slow transition process for me.
I kind of wish I had explored a little bit more, but Mormonism kind of puts you in a place where, and this is not the case for everybody, but Mormonism kind of puts you in a place where you're promised so many grand things
Uh-huh.
that even if there were other gods, you're just like, yeah, no, I was promised this, and that was a fantasy. And even if you do exist, you can't give me what I was promised, so it's not even fucking worth it.
Right.
So that was kind of my mindset, because I was basically promised that I was going to become exactly like God and rule my own universe with my husband. And everything after that this is like...
I take the most comfort in knowing that humans are animals. And if I view people and their actions in an instinctual, animalistic way, a lot more stuff makes sense. That's what I think.
And that's why I found the pagan stuff a lot easier to take in, because the general attitude there wasn't that humans were separate from creation and ruling over it, but that we were all just part of the earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't
Well,
need there
and-
to be any gods of rain or gods of wind or any of that to make that
Yeah.
a reality for me.
And like I said, I don't discount the possibility that the gods might exist, because I don't claim to know shit I don't
Yeah.
know, and
Well, I
that's
also
just not
felt,
how I am. But I was just like, what can these other people offer me after having been promised the universe? Like, nothing's gonna compare to that, and so why even fucking bother?
Right.
well, for me, exploring it all was just the idea that, you know, that we all somehow needed a connection with the universe, that we need to figure out where we fit into the great scheme.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
had some of that for a while. It's like I get it now. I get it biologically that I fit into
Yeah.
this scheme of nature. I guess I don't know.
I-
When you're looking for a purpose in life, and it's like, well, apparently my purpose in life is to raise children. That seems to be what my lot has been. So I can
Yep.
accept that.
Well,
That's
that
wrong,
was with
you know.
me too, that I wound up spending, most of my adult life raising other people's children.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I
it's like
just, after having been told I had this grand design purpose, like, shoved down my throat, afterwards I was like, I don't want a fucking purpose. I just want to exist and
Yep,
be
I just wanna
and
do
be
me. Yep, just be me and live my life. Yes, exactly.
Like I said, I skipped a lot of those steps, and I understand why other people went through them, because their experiences
Yeah.
were different than mine. But mine was just I guess because my upbringing was so fucking extreme, I was just like, no, I don't want any of this. In fact, when people tell me, because there are some religious beliefs that, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, that say if you don't believe in God, you get destroyed outright, like your spirit and your soul. And I was just
Yeah.
like, that sounds cool. Go for it. When I'm dead, I'm dead. I don't care.
Well,
Threaten me with a good time.
total obliviation sounds a hell of a lot more merciful than being sent to, torment in hell for all
Eternal
eternity.
burning, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for me, again, my afterlife promises were so fucking grand. I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have a mansion, you're gonna have a crown, some jewels in it. If you
I'm gonna
people,
have I'm
A
gonna
lot of
have my
promises.
own universe. I'm gonna have my own universe to control, like, and live with my family
Oh,
forever. And yeah, people
That
say
sounds appealing,
that
doesn't it?
it does. I was so mad when I found out that that's not actually how it works for women exactly, and I was just so pissed off. I was like, wait, I don't get to create shit. I just get to tell my husband. I get to hope that my husband listens to me as he creates everything. And
Yeah.
as a creative person, I sew, I cook, I make lace, I do hand dyeing from time to time, where I dye, dye fibers.
Yeah.
It's like,
Unfortunately, the thing about controlling your own universe, that those kind of things always get into the details of the wording. And it always makes me think back to the end of one of the books. I think it was The Wizardry Cursed. That basically this guy had been promised by these like high elves, these immensely powerful magical beings, that he would be master of all he surveyed. And at the end of the book, he was locked in a padded cell in an asylum. So that's like all he surveyed was a 8x8 room.
Yeah. That's scary.
well,
I don't know. I've been a
actually
landlord in real life, and I don't think that I would like to be a great cosmic landlord. That's a lot of responsibility.
I was just, and like, I just thought in the terms of wanting to create things. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I could make a planet that looks like this and does this thing and that thing, and that sounds fun. And then I got told it was like, well, you can't actually do the creating. You have to have the priesthood to do that, and only men get the priesthood. And I was just like, so I basically have to go to my husband and tell him what I want and hope he
Honey,
listens
can
to
I
me.
please have a planet to play with? Can you give me one
Like-
of your planets to play with,
I'm
please?
sitting
Can I
there
take her
like-
to the bathroom?
Yeah, and I'm sitting there like, you realize that an afterlife where I can't make things myself is hell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hell for me. Not to
That's
mention
torturous,
the whole you have to get married thing, which as
Yeah.
somebody who goes back and forth between even really wanting relationships, that can also be hell. And then they were like, oh, and your grand design is that you are going to have spirit children forever and ever and be the main person taking care of all the kids. And I was like, I don't like kids.
Oh,
Like,
I don't like other people's children. I
Yeah,
don't mind.
that was one of the things. Even while I was still Christian, that polytheism made a lot more sense to me than monotheism. Because I was thinking that, okay, the God of the universe has to be aware of everything going on, every planet's orbit, every atom, every electron spinning around every atom in the entire universe. And I'm like, that would be a fucking ridiculous workload. And if anyone had to do that, it just made sense that they would create managers to delegate things to. So it would make more sense that if you had one god, he would make a bunch of lesser gods to watch over things so he didn't have to do everything.
yeah. And the thing was that, like, they were just like, but you're going to want to have children. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I do not want children. And being in charge of millions of babies, like, granted, the church doesn't practice polygamy, but it's still part. The church doesn't practice polygamy anymore, but it still technically exists in doctrine. I would be probably in a polygamous relationship and have other people helping, but I'm just like, no, how does this sound like a cool afterlife to you? Like, I don't fucking understand, because I don't want to raise children. I never did. I watched my mom and how much she struggled raising us. And just like, I was like, nope, don't want that.
All right.
Where's my stuff?
Where's my stuff?
Yeah, Aunt Jer's like, where's my stuff? That's still my attitude. I'm like, give me my stuff. I was a good girl. Give me all my stuff. I will be a good girl again if you give me all the stuff.
I did get to a point at once, but it was like, well, I can't obviously be good enough for God because there's no such thing as good enough for God. So why bother?
Yep.
I went through a lot of my life like that. And then later on, when, my kid was sick, it was like, oh dear, maybe I pissed God off and that's why my baby's sick. Let me go see if I can fix things with him. Let's see if I can.
That was my problem with the Catholic Church. By the time I was 9 years old, they had convinced me I was going to hell and there was nothing that could be done about it. So it's like, I never developed any sense of ethics until I threw out the Bible.
Well, that's why I made sure when I decided I was done that I cursed the Holy Spirit just to make sure if I was wrong that God didn't want me. Just because I don't want you anymore, so I want you to not want me either. That sounds stupid or what?
Yeah.
But yeah. That was my parting ritual. Was like, fuck you, Holy Spirit, don't bother me anymore.
I was
now
told
I'm for
that
sure going to hell.
I was told that there was a real chance at it, so I was really trying. I was really
he would have made
trying.
it easier for me to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
had
I
fun
was
with you too, Doc.
really
You got to
trying.
come back more. I'm sorry. We just keep talking right over each other. Like I ain't got no home training.
It's hard because the echo and the delay is not
Yeah.
helping me.
Well,
Mhm.
I really think one of the things StreamYards needs to put in, is some kind of like a thing for raising your hand so people can, put a thing and there'll be a dot next to who gets to speak next.
Yeah, I just
What
it
happens when
would be
everybody's
helpful.
dot
On
like at the same time? With this.
Well, I mean, just that the moderator would then get to pick who goes next at least, so you'd have some way to organize it. You don't have people talking over
Yeah.
each other.
yeah.
Well, I hate to tell y'all this, but I got to get out of here because it is well past lunchtime, and my children have been little angels while I've been doing this and have not bothered me, other than to show me their nail polish.
Well,
And
actually, it's
I got
about
to
the
feed
top of
them.
the hour, and we've been going for 2 hours, so this is probably a good point to wrap up.
Yep.
Okay, Angie, you had your afternoon thing yesterday. You got anything coming up?
Once a week puppy updates and whatever I can come up with. I'm still working on some new ideas for some stuff that I haven't figured out how to do yet. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm not
Any new Ask Granny things coming up?
No, because nobody asks me any questions, so I don't have any more Ask Grannies coming up anywhere because there's never any questions. And I don't like inventing questions.
Okay, everybody send Angie some questions.
Or dishonest.
Okay, Tria, you
I didn't
got
get to
anything
finish
going on?
I'm trying desperately to get a video together. It is very, very hard for me right now. I have a lot of problems trying to keep concentration. It will happen eventually. I just don't have a time frame on it. I got sunk into something that was a bigger project than I thought, but it's something that I feel is important. And so in the meantime, if you're on Twitter, I am spending most of my time there, and you can catch me talking about asexuality and Mormonism. And at some point in the next week, you will hear me rant about the new church policies.
Oh boy!
They updated the handbook again. Boy, hell.
Yeah, I've
Keep
heard
having to
that
update the rules.
coming out.
That's funny. Wow.
They have always kind of been anti-surrogacy, but it's always been up to your bishop, essentially. But some bishops understand that surrogacy is actually a needed thing. Especially if adoption being like so expensive now.
Yeah, there goes the vacuum cleaner just kicked on.
I was like, I hope that's not my fan picking up, but see you later.
It's me.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
So I'll be ranting about that on Twitter soon because, oh God, it's bad. Even their new anti-surrogacy policy just...
Yeah. Well, I could see that Mormons would probably particularly have trouble with that, since so many of the adoption agencies are controlled by evangelicals.
Well,
there's not supposed to be religious discrimination, but I'm sure there is.
Well, part of it is the Mormon Church actually isn't against adoptions. They're against letting anybody have any control over over how they reproduce. The Mormon Church is very, very fucking much involved in your bedroom life, so to speak, in multiple ways. And when you go and get a surrogate, they're not, the church can't really control that per se without banning it. there's no way to control that other than banning it, and I think
Right.
that's why they're so anti-surrogacy.
Yeah.
That's just a theory, because otherwise I can't think of any reason why they would have a problem with it, to be honest.
Yep. Okay. Well, I've got to get stuff together for projects here, so
Alrighties.
gonna
I
get
will.
going. Yep. Well, I'll be back with the chat tomorrow night. Whoever wants to show up
Alrighties.
tomorrow at midnight.
I might be around. I don't know. I'm sleeping weird.
Yeah. Well, that's the chats are the only thing that I'm getting up at specific times for, because my schedule has been just completely out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, last night was the first time in over a week that I got to sleep before sunrise. Yeah.
I
Okay.
tried falling asleep at around 7 this morning, woke up at 10. I have no clue.
Yep.
But anyways, catch everybody later.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. See you all tomorrow night. Yeah, just hit the wrong button. Sorry. Bye-bye, everybody.